The following podcast contains spoilers and explicit language. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to Animated Anarchy, the show that takes a critical look at animated features of all kinds to determine the good from the bad. Hello, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome again to Bluth's Giving, which is after Thanksgiving now because we skipped a week, but that's fine. We're only going to do 3 movies anyway, and it's still November, so it counts.
4.
It's Bluthvember.
We did 3.
We did 3.
We did 3. Oh, we did do 3.
Yes, we only did 3.
We're spreading it out.
Are you trying to lie to the audience now?
We're saving more for next year.
Yeah,
to make sure we have a more Bluth-tainment.
We need there are more Novembers despite what we feel in the future. So yeah, we'll be after this. I'm sure we'll be visiting many other Don Bluth favorites and unfavorites.
I think we went through most of the favorites.
Yeah, we have actually, and this was like this was on our random picked category, right?
Yeah, we picked 3, and this was the one that was sort of like Nim was like, okay.
Yeah,
Pebble was, oh my god, and
Pebble
all dogs was sort of like, okay, like it was kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it was the middle ground,
and we were both like, okay,
yeah,
well, I'm fine with this. I will allow this.
Yes. So this week on Bluth's Giving, Bluthvember, Bluthadoo, Bluth Friday. It is actually. It's Friday right now as we're recording this. It's Black Friday.
Yeah.
So
good.
Yeah, Bluth Friday.
Bluth Friday.
Yeah. And we watched
All Dogs Have Moles. That's right. All dogs have moles.
No, it's All Dogs Go to Heaven.
All dogs have tufts of hair in random places.
All dogs are randomly shaped, and
all dogs have wrinkles that make their faces look like tiny alligators.
Yeah. So do you have any childhood history to this movie? Because I know I do. I watched this in the theaters.
This
is one of those movies where it's like I remember distinctly seeing as a kid in the theater.
This one's one of those ones where like I saw American Tail a lot. I saw Nim a lot.
Yeah.
I saw Land Before Time a lot. And this was like usually most people name like their top few Bluth movies is usually in the top 3 or 5.
Yeah.
And this one to me was one where I'd be like, I like it, but it was one that I always would forget what happened in it. Like people would be like, oh yeah, I remember like the sharp tooth fight, or I remember in Nim, or I remember this in American Tail. But people are like, what about in All Dogs Go to Heaven? And I was like,
I remember the alligator.
I remember there being dogs. And I remember there being like jazz music, kind of. Only in the beginning and the end.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm you know, I have like this memory of seeing this movie in the theaters, and I remember like I only remember parts of it. I mean, it's like a lot of it. I was in that age where I would find a lot of things very scary if they were scary. And being a child in the 80s, it's like you will experience a lot of scary things in movie theaters.
You look at half the dogs in this movie, and they would frighten a normal child.
But also, it's like, as a kid, I never really understood the movie. You know, it was like, it almost was like the themes of this were a little bit too adult for a child to understand. But at the same time, I can understand that that's also something that a lot of people praise for it, because it's more adulted up than usual.
I never heard that
animated
term before.
Movies.
Adulted up.
Yeah, it's adulted up.
It's it doesn't talk. It doesn't feel like it talks down.
Yeah.
There's moments where it doesn't feel like it's talked down. Like there's a lot of jokes that are very adult. Like there's even a line of dialogue in the movie where Charlie goes like, it's broke like the 10 Commandments.
They're more broke than the 10 Commandments. Yeah. So and later on I watched the movie again. I speaking of, also I saw All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 in theaters when that came out, because
I can't believe that was a theatrical release.
It was, and it was I remember that. I feel like I walked out of that movie. I feel like I was with my parents at the time watching that movie, and I think we walked out of it because I don't remember anything about it. It was one of those movies that was just like, oh, hey, we liked the first All Dogs Go to Heaven, to my recollection. Why don't we watch the second one. It might be good. No, there's something about it that was just like, this seems so cheap and bad. And it was like, it wasn't like, I don't feel animated movies had sequels or were known to have sequels at around the time. And this was like, I think one of the first instances where a fairly good animated feature got a sequel, and people were like expecting something good out of it, and unfortunately no, then started the trend of, no, the sequels to animated movies are bad and we're just going to show them off in home theaters now. Home video, yeah.
We should, one of these days we're gonna have to talk about movies that we were close to or did walk out of.
Yeah.
Because if All Dogs 2 is for you,
which one did you walk out of?
I never walked out of a movie, but I was borderline about to. And for that, there was two movies. One was Corpse Bride, and the other was Dinosaur, the Disney Dinosaur from 2000.
I almost walked out of Dinosaur, but I was just like, no, I have to sit through this.
Yeah. I mean, I sat through all of Garfield the movie. I think I've learned to grow up extreme tolerance for things.
Yeah, but we're fairly different on that spectrum because I actually, when Garfield movie came out, I actually enjoyed it, but it was like one of those movies where it's like, I think I was telling myself to enjoy it. I think if I saw it now, I would be like, oh, why did I like this? Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff like that, and it's like, with All Dogs Go to Heaven, it's like I only remember parts of it in the theater. And then I remember seeing it later, and then I started to understand a little bit more about it, and I was just like, "Oh, it's all right." I still enjoyed it for what it is, and to me, it seems like this movie is one of those things that kind of like Pixar, where it's like we know that they made a bunch of great movies. And then as time goes on and the more movies come out, and then they make one that's not as good as the previous ones, they start to think like, do I like this? Or no, I do like this. I do like this because
All Dogs, is that for you?
Yeah. It's like, no, I do like this movie. I like it. It's as good as the other ones that came before it. And I feel that way with a lot of things, because when people see a string of movies that do really well, they start to kind of like tell themselves like, no, I trust them that they think that this is good, so I think that's good. It's like, and they don't really process the concept that what they have seen is something that probably is not as good as what came before it.
That's like that one story about Thumbelina where they showed a test screening of the movie. And it didn't do well. Mm-hmm. And then people, they said, let's just try something. And they put the Disney logo in front of the movie. And people left. It's like, another hit from Disney. It's got to be good. It's Disney. I like it. It's Disney. And that like made like Don Bluth want to like shit a brick.
That is, that story is still like
hilarious.
It's hilarious.
But I mean, like,
but it goes to show you how.
I see what you mean, though. Like, sometimes where if you like a company's movies or a group's movies, and then you start. You see a bunch of them and they're all hit after hit after hit. Mm-hmm. Then you see one movie where it's sort of like it's not awful, but it's just a movie where it's not as good as the other stuff. And
you don't want to criticize it that much because you want to believe that this company can do no wrong. Yeah, it's like that's almost every fan base out there. It's like when there's like a stream of video games that are really good, and then they make like their first clunker. There's a fan base that almost does not want to admit that it's bad.
Yeah, that's what's been keeping Sega and Sonic going for the last 15 years. But
Sonic Colors is really good. Sonic Colors is really good.
Yeah, what are you comparing it to? The last 12 games that suck.
Half of Generations is really good. Yeah, but you hear it all the time from a ton of fan bases, and I feel that today, even like. People looking at Pixar movies will say that.
Yeah, like for Bluth, I would say All Dogs is that turning point where, just like with Pixar, like people would say that WALL-E wasn't perfect,
right?
Or Cars was the turning point.
Honestly, I think WALL-E was my turning point with Pixar, where it was
not
just
Cars
like,
so much.
Wait, did Cars come before or after WALL-E?
Cars came before.
I think it came before.
Yeah, it was before WALL-E. was a year
Well,
before
the thing
Wall-E.
was is that when Cars came out, I was one of the only, and we talked about this on our commentary track.
Oh yeah, we did a commentary track for Cars years
We
ago.
still got to do one for Cars 2, by the way.
Oh God.
Oh, and Cars 3. Just wait. When that comes out, that's going to be, oh man.
I mean, the thing is, the teaser, I'm pretty much bought my ticket because I want to see Lightning McQueen fucking die.
Our friend Steve, who has been a guest on the show, he was with us when we saw, it was the first time he saw that trailer, and his reaction to that trailer was probably the best thing I ever heard.
From my point of view, it was great because I hear like kids in the audience going, "Oh no, Lightning, what's happening?" And then you just hear Steve go, "Ah!" And the whole audience, like interspersed in the audience, you hear just people
like laughing.
The most cynical people in the room, laughing.
They started laughing with him, and it was just great. I was like, oh.
He was like a child who got his Christmas present early.
It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful reaction.
I love it. We were supposed to be talking about all dogs. We're talking about how much Cars. Yeah. We always go back to freaking Cars.
Well, anyway, what I was saying is, like, I think at the time when Cars came out, I actually did like it because it was one of those things that kind of surprised me.
And Cars doesn't. I don't hate it either. Like, I love shitting on it,
but then we go again with the whole. I saw it again, and I'm like, no, I don't actually like this as much as I thought I did, and that's honestly the same how I feel about All Dogs Go to Heaven, where it's like that is the turning point of the company, where it's just like, I know that I thought this was good, but I look back on it and now I think it's not as
good. It's one of those movies where you think about it, and it kind of, when you're not watching it or it's in recent memory, it's sort of floating in the ether. Is that, you know, there was Dom DeLuise and there was the dog. I like that dog character, and there was some things
There's
about it.
There's parts of it that are really interesting.
It floats in this kind of imaginary cloud of, I like that faint thing that I see, but then you watch it with
nostalgia cloud.
Nostalgia cloud.
The nostalgia.
That's what we should. That's a
nostalgia
term.
Fog.
Nostalgia fog.
Yeah.
That's what we should call it, is when you remember a movie and it's just this faint cloud of a nostalgic memory of that movie.
But it's like a very, like, comforting fog. It's
right.
It's like almost like, I know I kind of remember this, and I feel like it was a really good thing.
It's like a more childlike version of drunk goggles, where you see things that are more beautiful when you're drunk, and then when you see them up close, you're like, yeah. But
you sobered up, and now it's like, and you woke up in a bed with
watching this movie today was like sobering up after a long trip.
Yeah. But All Dogs Go to Heaven. Let's go dive into this thing, right?
Yeah, it starts with.
It starts off in darkness because
we get plunged into a world of darkness here.
We hear Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise, who have been known to be in movies before this together.
Yeah, they improvise a lot,
and they're apparently good friends together.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you know, in movies and outside of movies. So this was kind of like a perfect pairing, almost, at least for them. I mean, like, I think Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise is kind of like a very mediocre. No, I can't say mediocre. It's just say, like, it's just sort of like they work well. You know that they work well together, and it's just sort of like in the middle. It's like they're not really a fantastic pairing, and it's like you don't want to see them all the time together, as you would like with a lot of characters or actors in movies.
Yeah,
and they're not like terrible. They don't like. They don't clash.
They're not like, I mean, they're not like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello or like Bob Hope.
They're more like buddies.
Bing Crosby.
They're more like buddies.
They're buddies.
It's like, and it's like it kind of shows. So that kind of worked as well for the movie because they're supposed to be
good.
friends.
The chemistry on screen is really good. But and here they're you know, apparently Charlie's in jail in the pound. And Itchy's digging him out underground, and you get like this little improv scene where they're trying to, or it feels improv, where Itchy's trying to help him escape. Yeah. And there's this fun little bit where they're talking about, like, I think that's a water main. No, water mains are green. This is red, but you're colorblind. And it's like, yeah, it's a fun little moment. And then it is a water main.
Yeah.
And then you get this weird kind of comedy chase.
Yeah.
While they're getting shot at.
Yeah, they get shot at, and you can't hide that with lasers. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah. For some reason, it's not lasers early on, but I guess because you never see the gun shooting.
No,
You just see off-screen gun
We'll talk
shooting.
about that later. But yeah, they escape this prison and they head back to a casino, which is in the middle of a junkyard. So it's a casino for dogs. And apparently...
Oh, no, that one isn't in a junkyard. It's in like an abandoned boat.
Is it in the boat?
It's in the boat because they're by the water, and then Charlie builds one in the...
Oh, Charlie builds one in the junkyard.
Yeah, but so Charlie and Carface, which is... What a name for a dog, Carface. I remember as a kid being like...
Scarface, do you take out the S, it's Carface.
I guess so. That's the joke, I guess.
Now,
But it's...
Now, if the dog was voiced by Al Pacino...
I would have been perfect. But there's this bulldog...
I'm gonna get you, Charlie!
But there's this blue bulldog named Carface, and he, I guess, is partnered with Charlie in this casino, and Charlie was sent, to jail or the pound.
It's hinted at by the conversation between Carface and his lackey dog Killer, who looks like Eugene Levy as Ren.
He is one of the ugliest things in this movie.
A big ass Ren.
He's the ugliest, but oddly one of the most appealing designs in the movie.
Yeah, he's
got a tail his tail is like a brush that a barber uses to brush your hair off when you're done.
Yeah,
and he's got this wrinkly mouth. He looks like a balding Elmer Fudd dog with a big butt and
a big potato sack.
Potato sack butt and giant rimmed glasses.
He is a very oddly proportioned dog. It's most of the dogs in this don't really look like dogs, but they look more like dogs than how
they look more like. I mean, they are mutts to the most extreme side of the spectrum. Where the thing is, like Charlie himself, and then when you see Charlie, he's like a scraggly mutt, like dog.
Yeah.
But the thing about him is that he's kind of ugly. Like in the Don Bluth sense that like he's got moles, he's got knobby fingers. And then another thing too, like we were talking about this with Pebble, is that the characters don't know when to either they either walk on four legs most of the time.
Yeah.
Or when they walk on two, it's like they don't really make up their mind.
Yeah, it's they and I don't know, I've been trying to like keep track because when the dogs start walking like on two legs, it's when they're doing dance numbers, and when they're on four legs, it's around the kid. So I'm wondering if they were trying.
No, they walk on four legs even when they're in the casino when they're not around other dogs. Like they sit up and they
around humans.
I guess so. But even then, like. It's just sort of strange because the thing is like
it's back and forth.
When you try to design a character that functions both on four legs and two, and you're trying to find a happy medium where it doesn't look weird to see a character have paws when they're walking on four legs, but then when they stand up, their paws turn into big hands with big knobby. And of course,
because it's like they need their paws to look like hands in order to grab things.
And the Don Bluth character design
that happens a lot in Don Bluth stuff.
The Don Bluth school of character design really is played up in this movie in the sense that like you look at Charlie and you're like, all right, he's got unnecessary moles, okay, he's got tufts of hair for random reasons, okay, he's got fingernails that look like someone cut like a Tic Tac in half and just stuck them at the end of the fleshy part of your finger, not high up but lower.
All right.
And these wrinkly mouths and faces and like hairy lips too.
Oh yeah,
where like if they make that puckered lip, you see like they put tufts of hair.
Well, it's
on the edge of the lip.
It's like when it comes right down to it, when you animate an animal like that, you kind of break the main structure of it just to kind of like keep it flexible.
Yeah.
Because when you think about like trying to animate a bird, you have to realize that the beak is like this stiff piece of plastic that will not move in any way. But then there's the animation process where it's like, oh, we can bend this beak however we want in order to make certain mouth shapes, like ooze and give it lips.
But like a Disney bird keeps the shape, while a Don Bluth bird, like in Pebble, let's just put a mouth behind a clown nose.
Right? Yeah, that's
and
true.
not even like above. It's like above, but also like.
But there's a way
it.
that you can make it look appealing, and yeah, Charlie makes some expressions in this where it's like, no, a dog would never be able to.
But
do
also,
that.
it captures the certain things, like when a dog's mouth opens, when it's like sticking its tongue out.
Yeah.
It's almost like the back of the mouth really stretches back.
Yeah.
And you get like the muscles are pushed and pulled.
It
So you
becomes
get
an alligator mouth.
yeah, kind of like an alligator mouth. But dogs have that,
Mm-hmm.
and they capture that aspect and sort of. And there's some things that you're like, oh, that's just like my dog. But then you're like, oh, it's also the ugly characteristics of a real dog.
Yeah, but it's when you watch this movie, it doesn't. I mean, when I watched it, it didn't really bother me because I knew it's like, you know, this is something that it didn't really bother me unless I started really looking closer at it.
Well, I've seen these movies enough times where I just look at the technicals a lot of the time,
Right.
and for me, looking at lip sync or mouth shapes or and there's certain and throughout this movie, I've noticed that the animators on this movie, you get like people from like the Don Bluth, like they're veterans,
Right.
and then even some of the veterans are very cartoony and very loose, and they draw the characters more appealingly than how say Don Bluth or John Pomeroy would animate them.
Right.
And there's some animators on this movie where the characters are treated more cartoony with less detail, and they look better.
Yeah.
So it's a little up in the air. But
yeah.
I forget what part of the story we were talking about.
Well, we're still in the casino, and we're talking about Carface, how he hints that he wanted Charlie gone, and they said that he was going to be on death row in the dog pound. And was it Charlie? You're supposed to be on death row.
Oh, and also all these dogs are at a gambling casino. It's Carface and Charlie, but you pan over.
You see Charlie's name like
crossed
scratched.
off, but then you see a literal rat race.
Yeah.
With these rats and these multicolored, crazy, colored rats.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite lines in the movie, because it's just a weird reading, is. And it's this weird chihuahua like spasms up to the counter.
Yeah.
And he wins the race.
I mean.
I win. Here you go. And he throws him this piece of green meat. And he goes, ooh, bad meat.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird drawing of this chihuahua. Mm-hmm. And there's one dog, I guess it's like the announcer dog who's dictating the race.
Yeah.
Announcing the race. He's the least Don Bluth looking character in that whole movie.
Kind of, because you don't see that sort of dog drawn a lot.
He looks like a 40s style cartoon dog.
It's like a what are they? Like a boxer?
Like a Boston Terrier-ish kind of dog.
Something like that, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so basically,
Charlie comes back.
Yeah, Charlie comes back. They do a little dance number, which again, this is a musical. So they talk about you can't keep a good dog down.
And
whoa.
we would joke about how the Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise are just not singing on the beat.
Yeah, well, you get that a lot in most of the in this movie. Most of the music, they'll be singing, but then you'll hear the music in the background kind of like trailing off. Or they'll be singing and trailing off against the music. So it's like they kind of miss their cues. So, and it's like, it's not noticeable a lot, but then there's moments where it's like all of a sudden they're going off.
Yeah.
And then they go back to the next lyric, and it's like they start all over again.
The thing that's really weird, though, is that it's like you try to think about what the process was. Did they record the music beforehand and then just Burt and Dom DeLuise couldn't keep on the beat, or was it like?
Well, there is some like a trivia piece where they said that Burt Reynolds basically said that, you know, if I'm going to work with Dom DeLuise, I want this to be improvised, and I want to have Don Bluth outside of the recording so we can improv better. So it's like. A lot of I guess a lot of the lines that they had written for the movie were kind of improvised by Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise because they had that improvisational comedy together.
But in the song, if you have a song with a set beat and a set music track,
well, maybe they listen because Burt Reynolds is a fairly good singer in this movie, and. Yeah, it's like I don't know if maybe he sung it, like he heard the music, then sung it, and then they had to like work with what he sang and mix it with the music later.
It feels like they're shoehorned together in a very weird way. So like the music even tries to like slow down to
I could be wrong.
Keep up or keep down with Burt Reynolds. Either way, but they sing the song and then the song ends and then you are introduced to Carface and Carface talks to Charlie.
Yeah,
and tries to convince Charlie that they got to split the partnership of this.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to share 50-50 with this other dog, and that you basically get the idea. This is a casino movie. You know, it's like the whole sort of weird mobster mentality business aspect of it, where
in
it's
1939 New Orleans.
Yeah, where it's like the two business partners, one wants the other guy off, and the other guy is like, no, I want this place to be shaken, like let's put some dance and culture in this, and the other one's like, no, I don't want any of my money to be given to this other dog. I'm trying my best to do Carface.
You sound like you have like a not asthma, but you sound like you're like struggling to live. You're like, do you remember that movie Mouse Hunt?
Well, Vic Tayback is the voice of Carface.
Like, but he sounds like. Do you remember the movie Mouse Hunt with Nathan Lane?
Yes.
And there's a father, and he's like he's very old, and he can barely talk.
Yeah.
It's hard because like with Carface, he's like Charlie.
And
he should be behind the counter. He should be Danny DeVito's character in Taxi.
And a cloud of smoke escapes his mouth every time he opens it. So
yeah, he's smoking a big fat cigar.
Yeah,
he looks like Danny DeVito's character from Taxi.
Garbage, Charlie.
But so they convince Charlie to split, and he's going to give him 50. He's going to give him, a going away party.
Yeah.
And they get Charlie drunk.
And they give him a watch. It's like, here's your going away present, a gold watch. And then he's drunk. Well, first off, we should also mention that Itchy knows that this is going to happen. He heard some of his thugs talking about
off Charlie, and
they were
about a
also
monster.
talking about a monster like in their basement or something. And that was like kind of an off thing to remember. But then he's trying to warn Charlie, but he's always like a step behind. And then Charlie is like on the bottom of this dock where they just set him down there while he drunkenly sings, and Carface takes a
parking brake off of a car.
Parking brake off the car, and that rolls down and hits Charlie.
Very slowly.
Very slow. But it's also, by the way,
because they couldn't show the car actually hitting Charlie, so instead they have a weird shot where the car is coming towards camera, but it's moving at about 5 miles an hour.
This is also a dock that is sloped downward like a ski slope. I've realized. So it's
structurally not sound at all.
Yeah. So, well, whatever. They kill Charlie, and you were telling me that they cut off a piece of this.
Yeah, well, they couldn't show Charlie getting hit by the car.
Well, I don't remember. I mean, in the theater, I don't even remember, because I think you told me they cut this before.
No, they just cut it before they cut it before they released
every release. Okay, so
they added because they did it similarly to a scene later in the movie.
Yeah,
but
there's a couple scenes that are.
You could tell that they're edited.
You can tell that they're edited.
Because, like, in the case of this one, like, they couldn't show the car hitting Charlie because it's too graphic.
Mm-hmm.
To see the car actually hit Charlie.
Yeah, which
and in that shot where the car goes into the water, and then you immediately cut to the flash of light and Charlie's flying to heaven.
Yeah.
You don't see Charlie at all. And even Itchy later says, I saw your lifeless body flying through the air. You never see his body in those shots. I think they probably just removed the cells out and just film the car going in the water. Yeah. But either way, the car hits him and Charlie gets sent to heaven, where he's told that all dogs go to heaven because they're naturally loyal and kind. And he meets which
I find really hilarious, because we're this dog,
this pink whippet angel dog,
pink whippet angel dog without ears.
She has ears.
She has ears?
Yeah, they're not. They're not evident.
Right.
They're not really.
But she looks into this book, and you see the article where Charlie is in there, and it immediately says bad dog. Bad dog, gambles, cheats, lies, does everything, and then
very lenient when they let
Yeah,
dogs into
and
heaven.
it's like, but he's still allowed to be in heaven. And I was like, at that point, I was just thinking, it's like, wait, so all dogs, okay, they go to heaven anyway because why not?
Yeah.
So,
But so he goes to heaven and he realizes that he's dead and he doesn't want to be dead, and he finds out that that every dog has a clock that represents their life, and his is a watch that looks exactly like the watch that Carface gave him.
and that was the part of confusion where it was like, I remember that part when I was a kid being confused by the fact that there's another watch. Wait, no, I didn't even know there was another watch. I thought it was
The same watch.
The same watch the entire time. And it never really dawned on me that it was because the other watch was his life watch, and he was switching between that watch and the other, and the one that he was given by Carface.
And the thing that's weird though is that there is a transfer where he swaps the watch that Carface gave him with the new watch.
Constantly moving, constantly panning.
It's constantly panning, but the one shot where he swaps it out to the whippet,
it's covered.
There's an overlay where there's an overlay foreground element that passes over, so you never actually see him, like that sleight of hand movement.
Yeah.
So you see him, and it looks like he's holding the watch that he came with.
Yeah.
And then he winds it, and
do you think that was intentional?
No.
No,
I think that was just really it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned well when they put it under the camera. So when that action happened, they didn't realize. They thought that it would have been before or after the overlay. They shouldn't have had an overlay at all.
And it probably also contributed to the fact that I barely knew. About that.
Well, even
watch
like
in the
stuff
first
like if you
place.
blink for 2 seconds, you find out like Itchy was like before or after that song that they sing in the beginning. That Itchy goes through a trap door in the wall.
Yes, that's
true. And you
true.
blink, and you're like, where the hell did Itchy go?
Yeah, all of a sudden he's
Why
like,
is he suddenly with Carface? Why is Charlie suddenly with Carface? And where's Itchy throughout?
yeah, where's Itchy? What happened? But if you miss that scene, you're gonna probably miss a lot of information.
Yeah. So Charlie gets his life watch and he winds it and he goes back to Earth, and he's told that you can never come back if you leave.
Can never come back.
And Charlie's like, shut up.
Which haunted me as a kid. That line, like, you can never come back. It's like, oh God, if I die,
you will never come back. But so then he goes.
If I die and wind up the clock to make me go back, I can never go back to heaven.
So Charlie goes back to Earth, and he
the theology in this movie is kind of messed up.
Yeah,
right? I mean, it's
but Charlie goes back to Earth and he meets up with Itchy, and Itchy gets choked in his dream by Carface, and you were laughing.
I was laughing at that because it's just, I don't know. It's the mix
it the sound of the bone crunching.
It's the sound of Dom DeLuise and the fact that he's being choked, and the animation just like, ah! It's just, I don't know what was so funny about that. It's just like the noises that Dom makes in this movie are.
Well, even in the beginning of the movie begins with him just going like,
yeah,
and you're like. And even Bert is like, what the hell's the matter with you? I got dirt up my nose, boss. Another.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, Dom DeLuise is a great performance in this.
Yeah.
Itchy as a character is okay.
He is Dom DeLuise character.
Yeah, but I mean,
he is Jeremy the Crow. He is Tiger from American Tail. He's just a dog version of that character.
But he's still a different character.
He's a more sympathetic character.
Yeah, in the way where it's like, he's the buddy to a guy who wants to make it big. And he's a coward. He just like he was just like, no, we should get out of here. I mean, I heard that Carface once wanted you dead. He's probably gonna want me dead. We should stop and go to a place.
Tibet.
Tibet. Yeah. So let's go to Tibet.
Let's go to the Himalayas.
The Himalayas.
That sounds like an ad lib.
We'll get some llamas and
we'll race them. It's really weird. But either way, Carface Charlie's like, we got to get back at Carface. Itchy mentions that there's a monster. Yeah, monsters. That's what I said, monsters. And they go
monsters. I said monsters.
Yeah, and then they go underneath and they find this girl, Anne Marie.
Who? Well, this is ethically questionable at best, anyway, because there's a small child being held captive by a dog, who is using her for gambling
because she could talk to animals.
Because she can talk. Well, I mean, since they race animals and all the time, she's like, which also brings up another question. So dogs can only talk to other dogs, but they can't talk to other animals.
But they could.
They can.
Yeah.
They can sing. They can.
Well,
sing.
they just announced. They just say that she can talk to animals.
Right. Yeah.
And she finds out which rat is going to win the race that night.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's the way that she can find out like how the races can be rigged.
Yeah, it's in the house's favor.
Yeah. So yeah,
so
that's how Carface has been using her.
So she's been held captive.
And like, but Mr. Carface, you said I could go out into the sunlight.
Shut up.
And they close the door on her, and we don't know how long she's been here.
Well, you have to assume that she was there after Charlie was taken away, and that's why the company has made so much money while Charlie was gone. Because Charlie would like give. I mean, honestly, though, he wants everyone to win and have a good time.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the weird thing.
He's still a skis bag, but
he's a skis bag. But that's the weird thing, though, is that like. Everyone's sad at the casino when Carface is just running it.
Yeah.
But when Charlie gets back, he's like, okay, everybody wins. Everyone has a good time. And I mean, they're still making money. I guess, I don't know what he's a good
Why do they
guy
still
who's
keep going to the
money?
casino?
Yeah. He's a good guy that fleeces money out of people.
I guess. Yeah.
But he kind of lets them win every once in a while so they get the urge to gamble some more.
Yeah. He's still an asshole, but he's not as big of an asshole as the bigger asshole who is running the thing.
Right. He's the lesser of two assholes.
Yes, the lesser of two assholes.
So either way, Charlie and Itchy, Charlie kidnap back Anne Marie for themselves.
Kidnap, save,
rescue.
Because Charlie still finds this as an opportunity.
To get back at Carface.
Yeah, he gets money. He gets dollar signs in his eyes when he realizes, oh, it's a kid that can talk to animals. And then he's like, oh yeah, we should get you out of here because Carface is bad and I'm good.
He's like a car salesman. He knows how to upsell and work a way around and get on people's good sides. Mm-hmm. And so they kidnap Anne Marie, and they go back, and she stays at Itchy's place, which is just like a car.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like the place before I thought was Itchy's place.
I thought it was Itchy and Charlie's place, or maybe he's at Charlie's place.
Or maybe this is Itchy's car.
But they never really show what is Itchy's and what is Charlie's. And
locations are kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Either way, the junkyard.
Because when you said it was in a boat...
Yeah,
is it the same boat as the boat at the end of the movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Because the boat at the end of the movie does not seem like that was the place where the casino was. It just seems like a dungeon boat.
Just let's just say that I am confused by where things take place in this movie. Because I mean, some scenes it's in like they go and visit puppies, and are they at a pound? Are they at a house, an abandoned house?
Church?
Are they at an abandoned church? And then there's
a lot of abandoned
There's a horse track that's painted with primary colors.
This is all in New Orleans, right?
New Orleans, yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of abandoned, broken areas in New Orleans at this point.
Yeah, I love how they're celebrating Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras.
They're celebrating Mardi Gras, and they have maybe 10 seconds of Mardi Gras, people partying, and there's hundreds of people there, and then there's these dogs having a party inside of an abandoned Mardi Gras float that no one's in.
Yeah.
And then they go and they tie a dog up at the blindfolded dog at the bottom of a very steep sloped dock, and they run a car over it, and there's thousands of people in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think the humans at this point are just kind of like, oh, we deal with our own problems. We don't have to worry about what the dogs do.
Yeah.
But we have a huge stray dog problem in New Orleans. But
I wonder what the genesis of this movie was, where it's like, what if all dogs go to heaven? But what if this takes place in New Orleans, and we can make it I wonder
what if New Orleans is heaven?
What if New Orleans is like the border between heaven and hell, where you get both?
It's New Orleans is limbo.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but whatever. Either way,
we're trying to figure out the theology of this, and this doesn't make any sense.
So Charlie and Anne Marie kind of slightly bond in the car.
Yeah, because he's reading her a story, Robin Hood, but it's a War and Peace.
Yeah, he's faking a story.
Which is it's a very thin
version of War and Peace.
Of War and Peace.
Especially after you see the Peanuts movie, and War and Peace is like this giant tome about the size of a small cartoon safe.
Yep.
And then,
they kind of connect, and it's like, all right, go to sleep. It's like, Charlie, can you give me a kiss? Can you tuck me in?
Throws
like,
a thing on her. Throws a boa on her.
I'm like, can I get a kiss goodnight? Like,
and then she says grace, like, and then Charlie goes like, oh. And then the weird thing also is at the end of the sequence, and it's a funny little joke, but it's the first time I've ever seen in a cartoon movie where someone's mentioned that they have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
I remember as a kid seeing that and being like, oh, they do have to poop and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Going back on that, when Anne-Marie starts praying, I think it's a nice little, like, I don't think a lot of people thought of this, but it's great how Charlie reacts when he says, "And God bless Charlie," and he's like, "Oh God, oh God, don't bless me." And it's like, it's okay, it's okay. You don't have.
I love how he uses a sigh of relief after she's done. I guess it's like, oh, she's done.
Yeah.
But at one point when she goes, "Dear God," he just goes, "Oh no."
Yeah.
That's like when you go to you're invited to a friend's place for dinner and you don't realize they're very religious, and like, come on, hold on, and it's like, let's put our heads down, and you realize that you're somewhere where and you're not very religious, and they're like, "Dear God," and you just go, oh, this is awkward. Do I keep my eyes open? When do I open my eyes? Can I peek?
Like, what do I do with my hands? Yeah, but yeah, it's a neat little interaction between Charlie and the kid.
And every time Charlie gets kissed, he always goes, bleh, bleh.
Yeah, and coughs.
And like, even though he gets kissed on the nose.
Like, it's almost like a disease to him. It's like, oh God, cooties.
But when you get kissed on the nose, you don't spit. Like, you don't, like, if someone kisses you on the forehead, you don't go, bleh, like he does.
Right.
But either
we should also mention that Anne-Marie has, like, so much makeup on her face.
Yeah, we were saying that, like, she's really cute. She's probably one of the cutest Don Bluth characters ever
she's
designed.
a very cute animated
But there's a lot of times where she, like, oh, she's so adorable because
she has the half-lidded, like,
bedroom eyes,
very sultry looking.
And then, like, there's times where she's like, oh, she's so adorable,
and she has purple eyeshadow,
right?
And like
she's so cute in some of these shots. She's got these cute little chubby little cheeks and this little almost like Shirley Temple smile, and then.
And she's almost like...
Why is she sexy? Like, why is she giving me bedroom eyes?
Why is she coming on to the dog?
It's kind of like a weird border where it's like, oh, what a cute character. Then there's moments where you're like, oh, no, she's not.
Yeah.
But she is a very competently designed animated character in this movie.
And I kind of wondered, like, there's probably a lot of rotoscoping with her as well.
I mean, there's a lot of rotoscoping throughout the rest of the movie. I mean, all the human characters look like they were...
Yeah, that's true. But
like a Nim.
But that's just a thing with non-Bluth, I suppose.
Yeah. There's one shot where they're at the horse races and they're going up to the betting table, and there's one guy walking away from the betting booth and he turns sharply. It's like it's clearly taken from a rotoscope scene where the character was walking 3/4 towards camera, but the character's drawn as if he's walking sideways. So he's walking to the left, but then he's just growing in size, but he's still looking. So it looks like he's like halfway moonwalking across the floor.
Yeah.
And there's a woman whose butt is bouncing constantly on a loop.
Yeah. Everyone in line is also tapping their feet to this salsa music, where it's just like, we're gambling away our money, yeah.
The background's painted with primary colors. Oh, but they go and they talk to they see the horses and they, you know.
Oh yeah, the next morning
they go to the horse races.
Yeah, Charlie is basically saying, you know, we need to make some money. Why don't you talk to these horses and we'll
give it to the poor. That's right.
Yeah, we'll give it to the poor, because at first she's like, you sound just like Mr. Carface, and Charlie is constantly tricking her into thinking like, yeah, we're gonna, you know,
give this to the needy,
and we're gonna look for a couple, and you know, she doesn't realize he's saying couple of bucks.
Yeah. So
it's like she thinks, oh, a couple, so I could get some parents.
Yeah, and she talks to, and she finds out from the horses there's a British horse with a monocle and a purple horse with big lips.
And a very angry horse on the left.
A very angry, grumpy horse.
Yeah, who's looking at the other horses like he's going to kill them at any moment. It's like, soon, just bide my time.
And then she finds out that the horse that's going to win that day is the Grand Chahi. And the thing is, I mentioned the other day, I was at work, And it was Mickey Mouse's birthday.
Yeah.
It was like his 88th birthday or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, and I even tweeted it. I said like, everyone, yeah, it's a certain mouse's birthday, but no, how could you forget the Grand Chawhee's birthday? And we were joking about it. And it's this horse that looks like if you combine the donkey from Small One with Littlefoot and turn it into a horse, and it's this ugly, dumpy, tongue hanging out horse, and his name
it's basically the horse that you would not think would win.
Yeah,
it's like he's 1,000 to 1 shot.
Yeah, and his name is the Grand Chawhee, which
even as a kid, it's like that name stuck with me because I had no idea what the hell that meant.
Yeah,
and also it's like I always joke that whenever someone says Charlie, I keep thinking they're saying Chawhee. It's like, Chawhee, you can never come back, Chawhee.
Just replace the dog with the horse in this movie. But they say it a lot, like it's the Grand Chawhee's birthday. Yeah. And even when the race starts and they bet on the horse.
The logistics of how gambling is done is very weird.
But they bet on this 1,000 to 1 race on the Grand Chawhee.
Yeah. And well, how they do it is that they
dress in a costume.
And the kid is the head
with a mustache.
And the dogs are underneath, like making her
sashaying with their tail.
And the guy behind the booth. We have that great shot where it's just like...
I made a GIF of it a while ago. I'll repost it, and you'll see it on... If you go to my Twitter, I'll have it up there by the time this episode comes out. But it's
Gabbo!
It's the same image of this guy. He looks kind of like the old guy from 8 Crazy Nights. But it's a combination of Whitey from 8 Crazy Nights and Dr. Bleeb from We're Back. And it's the same background, but they just take the cell and they move it closer to camera to the beat of the music. And I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, that's disgusting looking, that man.
So you're gonna bet on a horse. That's a technical foul. Kill me.
Oh, jeez. Oh, why? But anyway, so they
Chawhee! That's the Grand Chawhee's birthday.
So they bet on the horse, and they keep saying it's the Grand Chawhee's birthday, and even the horses.
There's the fun scene where it's like the horses racing, and
the British horse is in the lead, and the girl horse comes up to him and goes, "Oh, hello, Reginald. Yes, lovely day for a race, isn't it? Yes, but did you know that it's the Grand Chawhee's birthday?" Oh, terribly sorry.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry about that.
And then they push, and that's the thing. That's between
nobody in the audience is looking at this like, what the
between
fuck?
Anne-Marie and Charlie and Itchy in this costume sashaying around, and there's clearly like a dog's tail coming out and a dog's foot.
Yeah.
And people are walking around blindly like zombies. And then there's a scene where the horses are pushing the Grand Chawhee.
No deductive skills in this movie whatsoever.
The thing I wish I looked at him. I didn't know if I was paying attention to the horses. The jockeys on the horse. Like, what are their... Are they just watching this happen? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And since they're pushing on the back of Grand Chawhee, are they crushing the jockey? Like, I lost
the jockey, like, disappears.
He falls off.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention because I'm looking at these dumpy horse heads.
I do remember a couple scenes where I saw the jockey with like wide eyes being like whipped across the screen by the horse because it's like oh my god, what the hell? What's going on with my horse?
Yeah. So the Grand
We'll
Chawhee
give you gold.
I wish the Grand Chawhee wins and they get the money, and then you get this weird montage where he's rebuilding. They're rebuilding a new casino.
Yes.
And they get dresses for Anne-Marie and
there's that montage
where she's talking to different animals and betting, and there's like a turtle race and a kangaroo boxing race and a boxing fight and
and even though this is a very selfish thing, they have like a moment where they look to the kid who's unhappy, and they're like, oh, we'll make this kid happy. Why don't we give her some clothing and make her feel nice and everything?
Yeah.
And then we get the casino, and that's another thing. The
casino looks almost exactly the same as the casino.
It's like a Christmas tree of trucks
and cars
and
welded together.
Yeah, and it's lit so bright, and there's even spotlights on the top of it, like just 5 spotlights going round and round, and it's in the middle of a junkyard. away from New Orleans, and I don't think any of their houses are even facing the junkyard, because
how do you not see that?
Yeah, I'm surprised that planes haven't crashed because of those spotlights.
I'm surprised that because there's signs. It's an auto yard. It's not like it's not like a true dump. It's like an auto salvage yard.
Yeah,
like the one I used to grow up in as a kid. And so there has to be people there who are working there getting car parts.
No, nobody
and shit.
works at the junkyard.
It's weird, but it's.
Haven't you seen the Brave Little Toaster? It's run by the machines.
Could you imagine there's some person controlling that giant magnet, and it's like, you know what? I hate my job. I hate life. I'm gonna kill this kid, and I'm totally fine with that.
There is no one working at that junkyard.
One of those automated junkyards where people like, what happened to Billy? He went to the junkyard. Oh. And you find out anybody who goes there.
Not that junkyard. That one's cursed.
Some weird, the Twilight Zone junkyard where the evil serial killer's soul was possessed into the giant angry magnet face.
Yeah.
We keep going to other movies because we don't want to talk about this one.
Yeah.
But either way.
It's like when you think about it, it's like this movie has a weird tone. It's like...
It's a tone I want to like.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. It's like, I like the fact that it's very different from other movies.
It's dark like most Don Bluth movies, but it's something that is like an invitingly...
Yeah, it's... Well, what I was going to say is that the dynamic between Anne-Marie and Charlie is kind of like how you would see in a casino movie where it's like, the hot rod guy that was just trying to make his business run, and then he has like his girlfriend on the side who's basically just be like, listen, you're just thinking about the gambling all the time, and I don't want to be a part of this. I'm out. I'm out of this. And it's kind of like that dynamic with the kid and the dog, but it's like, that's what they're trying to go for,
Yeah.
And I can really appreciate it for that. It was kind of trying to do its own thing to a type of genre of movie, and where we can do this in an animated movie.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of like work it up a little bit. But then the tone kind of just shifts immediately. Like, we have this dark tone where it's like there's dogs who want people dead. There's dogs who are thinking about killing other dogs. And they're gambling, and they're being bad.
Drinking, smoking.
They die.
Killing.
They die. They come back to life. They keep mentioning that they want to kill other dogs. And there's a kid that's like from an orphanage, and it's like they kept her and locked up in the basement. And when Anne-Marie is like upset, it's like, you said that we were going to save the poor, but you just think about gambling and that's it. And then Charlie is like, no, you know what? You're right. Let's I'm going to do the right thing, and we're going to go to a poor family and help
give them
out.
pizza.
Give them pizza.
Because pizza's big in the early 90s.
And really where they go is like an abandoned church that is housed of a ton of stray puppies
and a collie.
And a collie who Charlie apparently knows. I mean, that it's one of those things where it's like, if you suggest that characters know each other, like it's like, you don't come around here that much as you used to, Charlie. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, and there's like that weird little connection there.
Also, the thing is, you realize is that she's the mother of these dogs. There's like 20 species of dogs in those different puppies.
Is she the mom, or is she just like the nanny? She's like,
I don't know, because
it's supposed to be an orphanage sort of thing.
I guess
like
so.
All these puppies are like abandoned strays, and it's being helmed by the nun dog, which is the collie.
Collie. But either way, it's too many implications.
But yeah, he's like, he basically says like, this is the poorest family I know. Let's give him pizza, and then we get that song of sharing.
But here's
makes it turn into a kids movie immediately.
First of all,
as soon as you hear kids singing, it turns into a kids movie.
Well, also another thing is three things that bother me about that scene. One, again, it's
here we go.
It's Burt Reynolds not singing on the beat again. It's suddenly like a steel drum reggae number. What's mine is yours, what's yours is mine. It's like a kiddie version. It's like a song you'd hear on like Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And then another thing, whenever a song starts, the colors immediately turn into like a black light, awful nightmare.
All these dogs are like muted rainbow colors,
right?
Anyway,
and then it gets super bright in primary, and then
dogs.
finally, and I used to run because after I started my Snemir's Tumblr, I'm like, I'm gonna do an animated food Tumblr.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you guys submit like your favorite animated food because it always looks so good.
Yeah,
and it didn't catch on as much as the Smear blog did, but I got a bunch of like, I always thought this pizza looked delicious, and I got like 20 submissions of either the pizza from either Goofy Movie, the pizza from this movie, or the Invader Zim pizza.
Yeah,
and I'm like, first of all, like the Goofy Movie pizza is enough of a pizza where I'm like, okay, that's fine. But the
Goofy Movie pizza isn't even pizza; it's just continuously melting cheese.
But the thing is, like in this movie, it goes two different ways. One, the pizza is fucking raw. It needs to be in the oven for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The pizza's raw. The cheese is scalding the skin of these dogs.
There's no marinara sauce.
Because they're rolling in it. And then another thing, too, is that the pizza must get cold really fast because the pizza turns from a thing where cheese is literally nacho cheese and it's liquid. It doesn't stick together. And then a second later, it turns into like pizza that's been left out for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and the cheese is solidifying.
And they cut it into little pieces.
And he breaks it into pieces.
But each piece just looks like a slice of cheese, like a half of mozzarella or something like that.
And that bugs me with cartoon pizzas that they never get the sauce. It's just cheese with pepperonis on it.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of toppings, but it's like
if you put sauce on it, I guess it kind of clutters the design. To have
also, and the dogs are like constantly on it, and
they're rolling and stepping in it.
Yeah,
and you could tell that some poor effects animator was like, all right, here's what you got to do. These dogs are fighting over pizza. You got to just put layers of cheese in between these two dogs, and they sit on the pizza, and like a dog loses its footing in the pizza and slips, but the cheese still has to keep the viscosity of it being slightly solid, like mud or something. It's awful.
Yeah. Oh,
but yeah, they sing, and then it's implied that somewhere out of his fur pockets, Charlie drops the wallet that he stole from the because we
forgot to mention that the whole reason that they needed to start gambling in the first place is that they needed money from a couple. So it's like we're gonna look at we're looking for a couple of bucks, and then Anne Marie says, "Oh, there's a nice couple," and then they say it's like, "Itchy, go for the sick dog routine and distract them while I go get the wallet."
And the couple looks like Dirk the Daring and Daphne settled down. His eyesight got a little bad, so he had to get a pair of glasses. They look like they settled down.
Lived in the modern century.
Right. She looks like the mom.
They both look like they came from
Dragon's
Lair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's Dirk Daring and Daphne from like in modern clothing.
Yeah.
So hey,
it's weird. But so she meets this family, and
from time to time they'll see this family,
this couple from time to time.
Because Charlie stole the wallet, and then from out of his fur pocket it dropped out, and Anne Marie looks at her like, "You stole it. You stole the wallet. How could you?" And then she like runs upstairs, and then we see like one of the puppies look down to Charlie. Is like, "Oh, you filth!"
And then she turns around and looks up, and then that shot is held for just a little too long.
And now we're on the part where it's like,
Somewhere Out There was a great song.
Somewhere Out There was a great song. Let's try to emulate it. So
they got a different actress to play, do the singing voice of Anne Marie.
Yeah.
And it's a song, and there's a montage where she's living with the couple, and the dogs are there too, and you just see that, like, this is living hell for this couple. Like, they're having fun, but then you see these dogs rolling around. Yeah,
there's like tons of... It's like the kid is imagining herself with the family, having a mom and dad, but then all the puppies are also there with them. And it's like, okay, this is acceptable. The kid dreams like what...
She's 8.
Come on. She's 8 with a 14-year-old voice.
Yeah. So she goes to sleep.
She immediately aged in that song.
Yeah, so she sings a song, she goes to sleep, and the next morning you see...
Well, we have the...
Charlie's Nightmare.
Charlie's Nightmare, which is where he goes to hell.
And the scene was supposed to be longer, but it was too scary, so they cut it.
It was scary. I mean, when I was a kid, that was like one of the things that I remember being like, holy God, what is this? I don't like hell. Hell is not good.
Hell for Dogs is weird.
Yeah,
what they should have done was they should have done Hell for Dogs, where it's just just hell is just filled with vacuum cleaners that are always on. It's just like a standard envision.
It's like Satan has like a tennis ball and he keeps like throwing it, like getting the dogs really excited, and then like not throwing it.
That would have been a fun, except it wouldn't have been
It wouldn't have been.
It would have been a comedic version of hell. But
it would have been like the Homer Simpson version of hell.
But even heaven.
So you like donuts, do you?
But it's so weird that like even heaven is just it's heaven for animals.
Yeah,
because there's like a lion with sheep.
It's not. I mean, it's not even hell and heaven for animals. It's the general concept of what heaven is, and that's like the kind of dumb like, oh, it's up in the clouds, you have the pearly gates, and here's some cherubs going around, and
in hell there's demons.
In hell there's lava, and there's a boat with like little demons on it, and it's a very general
literally there's a river Styx with a grim reaper skeleton dog riding the boat.
Yeah, and it's not so much like, this is the version of hell for animals. It's more of like, this is the general idea of hell, and we're just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. So he has this nightmare where he's getting attacked by these demons and stuff. Then he wakes up and he's like, where's Anne-Marie? And then you have a little British child or Irish child, because this was probably filmed in Ireland, because they made this movie in Ireland to escape taxes here.
He went to
Maple Street?
For Maple Street to see the Wallop family.
And the thing is, I think, did they say the Wallop or the Wallet family?
Well, that's when you mentioned that, because there was a moment where Charlie said Wallet to see the Wallet family. It's like, I think he did say Wallet, because I don't know, maybe they didn't, or maybe that's just like a slight trick of the ear or something, because it's like, how in Rugrats they always say something else instead of what it's supposed to say.
Over my dad's potty.
Yeah, it's like that.
I just I still think about it.
You said that with such conviction, too.
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
Over my dad's potty.
Yeah, that's what they say in the show.
I know.
But the thing that always I can't. I'm sorry to go off track again, but I just knowing, same with like this movie, is that someone who's probably writing for years and years had to write like malapropisms for babies. So like one of them is like, over my dad's potty. Mm-hmm. Like someone wrote that with a straight face, or like
that's great. Dude, keep it up.
I know. Instead of saying Tommy, someone had to write this down. Tommy, you are buck naked. Like they had to write that.
Yeah.
But like in this,
but I mean, like Wallop, Wallet, it's like it's close together, so it might have been intentional, but it's also probably like a trick of the ear. Honestly,
yeah.
I don't really think they said Wallet. I think they said Wallop. The Wallop. The Wallop family, where they punch each other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wallop you one, Popeye.
I love how the one dog that says it, is she like a tape recorder? She's like, Anne-Marie's like, can you leave a message? Can you tell I'm going to 241 Maple Street? And she and like you could tell that she's like the dog is trying to remember and say it.
Her name's Rewind.
But
meanwhile, while this is happening, we also go back to Carface's place, where he's starting to plot, and he's like, well,
he's gonna kill his lackey dog.
I'm gonna kill Charlie. I'm gonna drown him.
Yeah, but he's gonna kill the Charles Nelson Riley dog, feed him to piranhas.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, boss, I have a gun. Oh, now I'm turning it to Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, no, that's not Dom.
Two polar opposites, but they're very similar. Like, boss,
a gun.
What kind of gun? A gun? And then he gets lifted up, and then it's obviously, because I found out it was originally a Tommy gun, and they said they can't show a Tommy gun, so they changed it to a laser gun.
Yeah,
like a Buck Rogers ray gun.
Mm-hmm.
And so
fully automatic laser ray
Buck
gun.
Rogers laser gun or ray gun, and. Yeah, Carface turns into the devil with a mustache for a second.
Yeah.
And then...
because all dogs go to heaven.
You see Anne-Marie is having the most disgusting-looking waffles.
With gravy.
With gravy on them. And then she's with this family, and then the thing that always bugged me was that there's this weird clown, like, it looks like a cookie jar or something.
And it disappears.
It disappears.
After every scene. Like, every other scene, there's a clown jar. and it when you mentioned that to me, it started bothering me too. I was just like, wait, it's gone now.
Oh, it's back. Wait,
oh,
it's
there
gone.
it is. Wait, it's gone. It's like, what the hell?
So Charlie goes up to the house and he's hiding in the bushes.
Yeah, he's basically guilt tripping Anne-Marie. And I don't know if it was intentional. Like was it
he wants her back?
Yeah, he wants her back. Okay, so, but I mean, meanwhile, this was a scene for Anne-Marie to connect with this family who is just like, oh, we can't just leave her out there and like nothing, because they go off in the other room where it's just like, we can't leave her here. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. Well, we should. But then they don't realize is that the window is open and she just escapes after Charlie.
Yeah, but they never go searching for her. They're just at home. It's like, well, I guess the lady.
I guess she's gone. Oh well.
Well, I kind of was glad, honey, that we weren't going to adopt her because
I kind of like our life
without
together.
children.
Without children.
Yeah.
The children that we left back at ye old times.
The 15 children we had.
And your mother.
And your mother-in-law. But so she gets and then while they're heading back home,
yeah.
they Carface riding a giant dog with the gun on top, and it's clearly a Tommy gun.
Yes,
it's clearly a Tommy gun.
But they added laser.
They pretty much added laser sounds and red light,
glows.
like red glows to the actual bullets.
Yeah,
so it doesn't look like an actual gun shooting them.
Because I remember when I saw this in theaters, it was a Tommy gun, and that wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just like, listen, if you're already implying the fact that you're going to kill the dog, and you ran him over with a fucking car, and he died, and he comes back to life, and he says he's going to kill them. Their guns mentioned so many times in this movie, like even by Dom DeLuise dog, who says like, a gun. And they mess with it, and they ruin like historical movie stuff.
Yeah.
And that, I mean,
well, either way, and then the scene, you could tell the scene was probably going to be longer, and it's only like a 20-second scene where he gets shot and runs away.
Well, I always felt that scene was very short anyway.
Yeah,
because all that really was to transition them to probably the only scene that anyone ever remembers about this movie.
Yeah, they fall into a pit. Underneath an old shack, and they fall down.
They fall down into the water, or like
the water's
the
below below
below
New Orleans,
and
they get taken by like
rats,
tribal
rats. Yeah, it's like, can't you speak to them? They talk funny.
I can't understand them. They talk funny. You racist.
There's a lot of racist stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they do. Yeah, but either way.
I mean, Itchy going Siam
with the buck teeth and the symbol on that.
Yeah, I mean,
jeez.
It's evident.
Turns
into
the cat from the Aristocats.
Yeah,
but either way, they go on below, and they're fed to this giant monster crocodile, alligator thing, and it's got like a bone through its nose and a headdress, and I don't know what to call it besides disgusting.
Yeah. And we're like debating, like we're calling this the Oogie Boogie.
The Oogie Boogie Gator.
The Oogie Boogie Gator. Because it's the same guy. It's the same guy.
It's Ken Page.
Ken Page. And well, we were kind of debating.
Is it a female or a male?
Yeah, is it like a transsexual gator, or is it supposed to be a female gator with a guy's voice?
Because in some shots it's eyelashes and lipstick.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes it acts. I mean, it acts really feminine, and it's like, I don't know why we're questioning this. It's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, it could be anything.
Yeah.
I mean, but I was asking the question, it's like, do you think this thing is female, or do you think it's like a cross-dresser?
Well, it's a little bit in the middle, because it's not quite, because some shots the gator has eyelashes, and some shots it has lipstick, and some shots it's being very feminine, and it's acting puts on
but maybe it's
puts on like a Bubsy Berkeley.
But I mean, like, yeah, maybe it's good that it's ambiguous enough that it's to interpretation. But at the same time, this fucking scene happened. All this scene is there for is to have this song and dance scene. And in between that, Anne-Marie gets sick.
Because she's in the water for 15 seconds. Well, it's sewer water under New Orleans.
Right, yeah. Who knows what's under there.
Right. But also another thing, too, is that
feces of all these rats. These tribal rats.
Oh, I got some in my mouth. Those water But the thing is also where when they're underwater, they put it through this filter where it's like, let's make music together.
I hate that part. I hate it. Yeah.
And it just like, because they did it on Pinocchio where they put it through a thing that kind of would shake the films reel.
Yeah.
Or shake the soundtrack. But it did it very slightly, so it has this whoa kind of.
Yeah.
Because they actually did it with, I know they did it on Aristocats, and Phil Harris nearly drowned. Because he was putting his head underwater and doing like choking underwater sounds.
Really?
And they actually had to not resuscitate him, but he nearly choked and died on water. And he's like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, why would you?
For authenticity.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
But
whatever.
Either way, so they sing the song, and then they never say goodbye to the alligator. It's just
there's no scene in between where it's just like they discuss. It's just like this happened.
Yeah. They go back to the church.
They go back to the church because Anne Marie is sick.
And then Itchy gets
the collie dog basically off screen says like she has a burning fever. I think it's pneumonia. Oh my god.
And then I said, what did I say? I said,
oh, you said
it's not uncommon, but you can die from it. Oh dear God, no. It's like in Nim.
Yeah.
That's the one.
What's with pneumonia in Don Bluth movies?
Because
it's the most
it's more serious than a cold.
Yeah.
But it's not like a broken bone, you know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, she's very she is on and off
sick
because there's a scene. Well, okay, we also have to mention that Carface attacks Itchy
with his goons,
and they're like, "Where's Charlie?" And it's like,
he
he
pales a piece of wood with his claw, with his
giant
nail.
dog claw, and he basically attacks Itchy and burns down
Charlie's Casino. And you have a nice little heartfelt moment with Dom DeLuise. It's probably the most of any of the Don Bluth characters he's played. It's the most heartfelt moment where he was like,
I told you we should leave, but I stayed with you because you're my friend.
Yeah.
And Charlie is still selfish. He's like, no,
we got to rebuild. We'll do it bigger.
We'll do big. And it's like, no, we should get rid of the kid. Like, no, we're gonna use the kid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use the kid, and then we're gonna dump her in an orphanage. And it's kind of really powerful that scene.
Yeah.
Because he's really shows his asshole tendencies. And it's like,
well, the thing is, I don't think he really truly means it.
No, he probably didn't mean it.
He's just doing it to make Itchy feel better.
Yeah,
because he wants to make both people happy, but he throws Anne Marie under the bus.
Right, because right behind him is Anne Marie listening, who's kind of conscious right now.
She's not totally sick.
No, she's not totally sick, but it's the whole scene to like, you lied to me. You're a bad dog. And to a dog that's right to the heart.
You're a dumb mutt.
You're a bad dog. Bad dog.
And then suddenly Itchy decides to help them out.
And then she gets the spray bottle and sprays him in the face. Like,
turns on the vacuum. But then they have to go and get the collie tells Itchy to go get the family.
Yeah.
And round up the dogs. And they do this weird Twilight bark.
Yeah.
From 101 Dalmatians.
Which is also funny because they ripped directly from another Disney movie. The 3 dogs on like leashes being pulled. It's just completely drawn over the same sort of animation.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
But, so they do that and they get the family. But while that's Carface kidnaps Anne Marie and puts her in a cage in the boat. Mm-hmm. And, Charlie tries to save, and there's this fight, and there's this weird shot that I love when Charlie escapes, and there's a shot where you see Carface looking down, and he just goes, ah! 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 I gotta make a gif. I gotta make a gif of that.
Yeah. Ah! And you have to have, like, the...
Just,
Yeah, like the subtitles underneath. Just like,
But, and then, he screams because he gets bitten by one of the
thug dogs.
And then the alligator
comes in and starts running into the boat and starts wrecking things.
And then knocks Anne Marie's thing off. And then
she's in the water and she's sort of unconscious because she's still sick.
Yeah.
And
on and off sick.
Yeah, and Charlie is like fighting with Carface and he needs to save Anne Marie. And he keeps on like putting the watch aside because we also have to realize that the fact we didn't mention that he is also desperately trying to keep that watch ticking. And if he puts it underwater, it's like it's probably gonna like
stop working.
Stop working.
And then also, yeah, they knock an oil drum that lands on the winch that controls the cage going up, and it causes a fire, and then it's filled with fire and smoke.
Yeah. And he dives in. Carface like falls into the water and gets chased off by the alligator.
And assume that he gets eaten.
Yeah, it's assumed that. Well, later on, you find out that he did get eaten. So.
Yeah.
But Charlie dives in. He tries to save his watch. He saves Anne Marie. Then sees the watch going down, and then he tries to grab the watch. And then Anne Marie goes down. And then it's like.
Can you hold on to it?
Yeah, it's like, and then he finally like just lets the watch go because he wants to save Anne Marie.
Yeah,
and then puts her on a plank, and it's like, you're on your own. It's just
you can make it, kid.
Yeah, you can make it. Just shoves it off, and I made a joke where it's just like you see her like going outside, and then all of a sudden falling off the plank again,
or like getting sucked into the engine of the back of the boat or something. It's like that scene in The Simpsons where Flanders pushes Homer out the window, just goes, and bounces back into the house when it's on fire.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay. Yeah. So he gets saved, and then his clock stops and he drowns.
Yeah.
And then you have all the dogs and the couple come, and they see that the Charles Nelson Riley dog.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I'm a good dog now. I saved the kid. I saved the kid.
Yeah, and redeems him. His arc is now closed.
So yeah,
but then you get a nice little ending.
Mm-hmm. Where it's a very heartfelt ending where we see Anne Marie in the house of this couple, and she's in bed,
and Itchy lays with her.
Itchy comes by and lays with her, and then. Well, I feel like there was a scene missing somewhere, and maybe it would have helped it, maybe it would have hurt it more, but it's almost like Charlie just came up from hell, because we see like a dark red death cloud come around the devil's shadow in the background,
and a bunch of leaves go into the house, and you're like, oh, these leaves, they're filling the bedroom.
But Charlie comes in with like the red clouds behind him, and it's like, I almost feel like there was a scene where he tried to make a deal with the devil or something, where he's just like, I just need to see the girl one last time before I come down.
Yeah. Or whatever it is. And either way, he's there, and then the good dog, the angel dog, just
the Spencer's gifts,
Newton's ball of Tesla coil comes flying in and kills and like just destroys the devil dog.
The devil's gone. Yeah.
And then she says, you saved her, and that redeems you.
Yeah, you saved her despite your life, and it's like you can
come to heaven.
You can come to heaven.
Come home.
Yeah, come home.
And
come here, boy. Come on. Come here.
But so he says goodbye, and there's a little heartfelt moment where Charlie says goodbye to Anne Marie. But then you get these creepy reflection in the eye shot.
Oh yeah, they look to each other and their reflection is in.
And the thing that bugs me about that is that we talked about, because we were saying that's like that shot in Sleeping Beauty when she wakes up at the end. And the thing that I'm like, I would love. I know someone who's at the archives. I want to ask, do you have that background? It's why. It's like, because I know that the eyes and the mouths are animated on separate layers.
So they're missing.
Somewhere there's a background painting in the Disney archives of Sleeping Beauty with no eyes and no mouth.
Yeah, no pupils. No pupil. So it's like this white-eyed, no-mouth creature. Like,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, that's gotta.
I gotta ask my friend about that.
Oh yeah, that is. I want to see that. Honestly, I need to see that. But yeah, it's like he says, like, take care of Itchy. He
has nobody.
He's a good dog.
Yeah. And then they say goodbye, and
then he goes up to heaven.
And then the
he
movie
went up to heaven, Mr. Terwilliger.
And then the movie ends, and then you hear the record.
The movie just ends, yeah.
And then you just hear, whoa, wait a minute, this, I might be dead, but the music shouldn't be. And then they have a hallelujah-like number.
Yeah, which is...
And a little button ending with Carface saying, I'm going to get that gator, and he takes his own clock.
Yeah, shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, you can never come back. And then Charlie goes,
you'll never come back.
He'll be back.
Which also implies that every dog that's a bad dog goes back to heaven. They'll most likely have some sort of redemption with themselves.
Carface will donate to a worthy cause.
Yeah, like Carface. Well, he actually does, doesn't he? Like in the third movie, you were saying?
They did an all dogs Christmas Carol, and they made They made wait, I forget.
There
No,
was
it
an All
wasn't John.
Dogs-
There was All Dogs 2, which was crap,
and there was an
All
Dogs
Christmas
series.
Carol, and a TV
There
series
was a
briefly.
TV series.
But there was an All Dogs Christmas Carol, which I know is one of the lowest rated cartoons I've ever seen ratings of.
Yeah.
And I remember because it's not. I said before Jonathan Winters was him. No, it was Ernest Borgnine was Carface in that thing.
Yeah.
And he plays like Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
And it's like a really bad.
I remember that.
It's
it's terrible.
Carface is a redeemable character now.
Yeah.
It's weird. But either way, that's how the movie ends. And then we were like looking at each other like, well, that was
All Dogs Go to Heaven. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
Sorry, I was reliving the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It's
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
like poetry. It rhymes.
But yeah, that
It's
was
so dense. It's so much stuff.
But that was All Dogs Go to Heaven, and it's like I don't hate it. It's certainly. I mean, it's
better than Pebble.
Yeah, I mean, comparatively, yes. And that's why it's in the middle of the road here. It's not as good as Secret of Nim, and it's certainly better than Pebble and the Penguin.
It's kind of like in the middle. It's like that movie is the bridge between good and bad Don Bluth movies.
And it's like I would honestly say that half of this film is really, really good. And then half of it is just kind of like on the fence of like, they could have done away with this, or they could have done something different with this. But at the same time, it's like, I'm trying to think of what else I would probably replace it with.
Yeah, like I enjoy the movie enough.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It has flaws, but it doesn't like. I like the characters.
Yeah,
I like I like all the characters. I like the animation's pretty great. It's it's Don Bluth at its weirdest, but it's also pretty good.
Yeah. And I do like the characters. I mean, Burt Reynolds as Charlie is pretty good. I do like his singing in the second song, the one where he's in heaven. It's like,
let me be surprised. It's
let me be surprised.
What I realized, this movie,
that's a good song.
has the same, not only like tone, but the same like almost feeling in terms of like art direction as Rockadoodle, because it's very dark and very cloudy, and there's a lot of neon and
Well, it's like I think with that it's
unnatural light.
The thing about it is that when you think, how do we portray something that is like has casinos and has like a dark tone but also neon lights, so it's like you have that darkness but you also have the lights of the casinos that are brighter and really make it shine. So there's that
and you have your Grand Chahi birthday scene where everything's right out of the Crayola box.
Yeah. So before we finish though, we need to discuss the elephant in the room of this movie is that Judith Barcy.
Oh God, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
she played Ducky in Land Before Time,
and she was the kid in this movie, and she was sadly murdered by
her father.
And she and her mother as well.
I know. I heard a story where Don Bluth, they heard the news, and the movie wasn't even out yet.
No, the movie wasn't out, and they were still working on the movie, and they were
devastated. A lot of them went home.
He was really devastated over the death, and he really dedicated all her mannerisms, and really, really gave like a good dedication to her for this movie. So it's like, it was a way to cope with the loss.
Yeah.
Try to. And and she is a really adorable kid in this movie.
Her acting is actually really sincere.
Yeah,
and really
I would
good.
say like she's one of the best child actors I've seen in an animated movie.
Yeah,
especially like in the 80s and 90s. It's like just
I mean, like she was younger when she did Ducky.
Yeah,
and here she's a little more eloquent than when she did Ducky. But it's still there's a sincere, genuine quality to her voice. And when she delivers lines, it's pretty. Yeah, it feels genuine.
So I would say that the animation and the dedication brought to her was really, that's one of the shining moments in this movie.
Yeah.
So hats off to Miss Barcy. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe it's been like this movie has been.
When
did this come out?
Oh gosh,
89 or 90.
89, yeah.
89.
Yeah. So
this movie is almost 30 years old.
Almost, yeah. That's quite a bit. So yeah, this movie has like a lot of interesting stuff to it. I mean, it has like a lot of great ideas. You know, it's like what an animated movie can be, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff that kind of keeps it from being in that realm of the
great movie,
the animation tropes. You know, it's like it's in that realm of where it's like, oh, this could be a great example of a movie that is different from other animated movies because it does not follow these sort of tropes or formulas. But then it does have those tropes and formulas.
Yeah. Well, even like... this movie, thankfully, this movie was made at a time where, like, Little Mermaid was. This movie came out the same year as Mermaid, so it couldn't copy what Mermaid was doing.
Yeah.
Because every movie after Mermaid was copying Mermaid.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the last movie, or one of the last few movies where there was no thing to compare it to, and then every studio by the mid '90s was trying to copy Disney. So this is sort of it's unique. It's like most of Don Bluth's movie. It's almost anti-Disney.
Yeah.
Or it's anti-modern Disney, because I know, like, with Land Before Time and with American Tail, they're trying to go back to like the Pinocchio school of animated film, where it's dark, but it's enjoyable, and there's lighthearted moments, but there is a level of a seriousness and a you know, it caters to people's fears too, rather than just entertaining them.
Yeah, so, you know, I would say that this movie is worth a watch.
Yeah.
It's got some weird stuff in it. Like that Oogie Boogie gator is just kind of like out of the blue. And it's like, I mean, that's just is what it is now. I mean, I would even say that sharing song is kind of out there. It's like all of a sudden like, oh, we got a Sesame Street song in here now. So we got a Sesame Street song in our gambling movie.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden in the middle of Goodfellas, they start doing like a little Jamaican dance.
They start doing the chicken dance at a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
Instead of it being a wedding or something like in The Godfather, it just turns into it's like a 4-year-old's birthday party where they hire clowns.
It's like, oh, listen, kids, you gotta remember.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Marlon Brando in a clown as Don Corleone, but in a clown outfit. He goes, "Hey, I'm gonna make you laugh, and you're gonna like it. Here, I'm gonna make you a balloon animal you can't refuse."
Yeah, the movie Casino. Al Pacino suddenly like sings like "Under the Sea." Under the sea. Oh, under the sea.
I'm the horse's head.
Yeah, but yeah, that's our review of All Dogs Go to Heaven. Do you have any other thoughts about that?
About this movie?
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it's good. I mean, it has its moments, but at the same time, yeah, it has flaws too. But it doesn't. It's not like glaringly like you watch this movie and you're like mad at it.
Yeah,
like we were watching Pebble and we would like yell at the screen. Like we were commenting on like background dogs in this movie and how kind of weird they look.
Yeah. And another thing about this movie is that I came into this movie thinking I wasn't gonna like it as much as I used to, and I watched it and I'm still on the fence of things that I don't like about it being like terrible, but I still really enjoy it. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, this movie is really it's a good movie to watch and kind of like learn from, you know, where it's like it has like these neat interactions between characters that you don't really see in a whole lot of other animated movies. So it's like, and the conversations that happen as well. It's like you don't kind of hear these conversations.
Yeah. The improv is great.
Yeah, yeah. So that really helped the movie. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. So that was our review.
That's the end of our Don Bluth month.
That's our Don Bluth month. Bluthsgiving, Bluth Friday.
Gave you something to be thankful for.
Bluth November. Yeah. Be thankful.
Be thankful that it's over.
Be thankful that we didn't do Troll in Central Park. But we're gonna have to at some point, I'm sure. Yeah, if you would like to talk to us or give suggestions of the show, probably the best way to do that is on our Facebook page, which is at facebook.com/animatedanarchycast. And if you would do us a solid, please go to iTunes and Stitcher. Give us a favorable review. 5 stars would probably be preferable. But that really all depends on your attitude. And why, if you give us anything less, why are you still listening to us? You know.
I want to see.
And please, also, I would like to help. I would also like the help of our audience to kind of continue to spread the word of our show, so that we can get into the ears of, so we can earworm our way into other people's daily podcast routines. Maybe suggest to your friends or your family or on Twitter or Facebook or whatever you can do. Just tell them to look for our podcast, Animated Anarchy. That would be great. We are also on Patreon. You can give us a couple bucks if you want a month on patreon.com/AWD. It happens to be my Patreon, but all the money goes into what we do on the show. And also, if you want to give us some physical snail mail or things to talk about, like, movies or weird toys or something that you would like us to discuss, maybe on a mini cast or something like that.
Yeah.
You can also send it to us at Animated Anarchy, P.O. Box 10852, Burbank, California, CA 91510. And I guess that's it for now. We will be back on another episode, and probably
not a Bluth one.
Not a Bluth one, but when we get to that, we'll let you know. So, yeah. So remember that all dogs go to heaven if you have. And I don't know where I'm going with this. No. I don't want to suggest that when your dog died, it goes to heaven or hell or whatever.
Or that cats don't go to heaven.
Yeah, cats will forever live as a ghost in your house and haunt you.
Unfinished business.
Yeah, unfinished business in the litter box.
I was gonna say, well, not that.
But... okay.
Oh, we're done.
Yeah, we're done here. All right. We're done. We're done. We're dog tired, and. Don't give me that look. So, yeah, that was Animated Anarchy. Thank you so much for listening to us. We will see you again next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.